Hey guys, it's me again. Finally able to get a second video up, I hope. Um, so for those of you who didn't get to see the other video, I wasn't able to get the closed captioning button to work. I tried everything. I tried taking it down, I tried putting it back up, and I just said I'll just redo it and hopefully I can figure it out. Anyway, so I'm going to go over what I've been doing and where I'm going. And again, I apologize like I did in the other video. Allergies are making my throat crazy. Anyway, so the last video I made was when my stepdad went into hospice, and he was in hospice about a little more than 5 months, and we had a wonderful time just sharing and loving and talking about God's love and just spending time together. It was really lovely, and I was very honored and blessed to be with him. And I was with him when he passed away. He died in my arms very peacefully, so it was a great experience, and I'm so glad I got to be there with him. We had a memorial for him a few weeks after he passed away, and then I hung around the area there in Michigan for a little bit longer because there was some Christmas stuff going on that I really wanted to see. So I hung around there and did that. That was a lot of fun. And then I went to Illinois for Christmas, to spend Christmas with some of my family and to work at the deli, make a little bit of money. And in January, I took off from Illinois and went to Colorado. I was heading towards Colorado, but as I was driving, God said, I need you up in Montana. So I went up there and met some lovely people there, and I had an amazing experience there with myself. I mean, I don't even know if that sounds right, but it was just an experience between me and God that was amazing. So I will share that with you at some other time. But yeah, so it was wonderful, and Montana was beautiful. And so after that, I went towards Colorado and went into Wyoming and got to spend some time with my lovely niece and her family, and then into Colorado where I stayed the night with my other lovely niece and her family, and enjoyed all the visiting and love that we got to share. It was wonderful. Then I went into Colorado Springs where my birthday celebration was, and I stayed with my dad and my stepmom. Then while I was there, my oldest son Brad, and I cleared this with him, he said, Mom, it's my story and I want it out there, so absolutely you can talk about it. So I cleared it with him before I was going to say anything on here. And so he has had an alcohol problem for a while, and he longer than I knew. But while I was in Colorado, we were texting, and he said, Mom, I'm sick and I need help. And so he reached out to the CEO of the company he works for, their franchise, and they got all figured out, and he found a facility. It was going to be a couple weeks before he could get in, or maybe a week and a half from there. Then I don't quite remember the timeline. And yeah, so he was going to go get treatment. So right before I left, I went to go have breakfast with my other son, Mark, and his wife. And as I was driving there, I was in prayer about my son, and all of a sudden I heard, you need to go be with your son. So I texted him and I said, would it be okay if I came there, and could I be there? And you know, I'm hearing God tell me to go. And he said, Mom, I wanted to ask you to come, but I didn't want to interfere with your plans. And I said, well, you asked the right person, because he told me to go. So I had a little bit of time, not as much as I thought I was going to, but that was fine. And so when I left Colorado, I went to Texas. I was going to Texas. A dear friend of mine that I've known since I was 9, long time, was turning 60 a little bit after I turned 60. And so her husband and I agreed to throw a surprise birthday party for her. And we knew she was going to kill us, but we didn't care. We were going to do it anyway. So I drove into New Mexico, and sorry, my car's yelling at me because I'm running it while I'm sitting here. Maybe I should turn it off. And, ooh, bright light. Anyway, and so I went into New Mexico and stayed in Santa Fe for a couple of days and in Ruidoso. I think I'm saying that right. And met some beautiful people in both of those places. Ruidoso really is a beautiful place. It really reminds me of Colorado. It's just gorgeous. But anyway, then I went into Texas and we pulled off the Surprise. It was very lovely. And I'm sorry about all the lights and stuff. I'm in my car. I'm traveling again. But so we had a great time, but I left the next day going towards Illinois because I know when I'm going to somewhere to give myself a cushion, because I never know if God's going to take me on an excursion to meet someone. So I ended up the first night in Little Rock, Arkansas, and met a lovely spirit there. And then he had me go into North Carolina. I was in Emerald Isle for a few days, and anytime I'm near a beach, I'm a happy girl. So I always feel blessed that I'm there, but he always has people for me to talk to and connect with. So, you know, I'm there doing that, but I get to walk a beach, and I don't care if it's cold or if it's warm. I love walking the beach. So, and Bonnie does too. So anyway, so I got to enjoy that. And then I went up into Connecticut and had a lovely experience there at an establishment where, you know, the spirit was just on fire there. The love of God was just flowing through me into these young kids. It was amazing. And again, I'll share that with you guys at another time. So then I went into Illinois, and a couple of days later, I drove my son to the facility, and he was scared. And he recently told me why he was scared. He said, I didn't want to leave my kids that long. I mean, recovery is hard. There's detoxing and there's all of that. So I'm sure there was a lot of things, but he said it was mainly because he was going to be without his kids for a month. And he said, and it could have been 45 days. And he was so worried that it was going to be that long, and he didn't know if he could be without his kids that long. But anyway, so I drove him to the facility, and I want to explain, when he was about 17, almost 18 months old, he had to have a hernia operation. And I remember clearly handing him over to the nurse, and he was so scared and crying, and she took him, and I knew he needed this surgery. I knew he was going to be fine. He was in the right hand, in great hands, and I just turned around and just melted in my sister-in-law's arms, crying, because it was so hard to just, you know, to turn your baby over like that, and they're so afraid. Well, dropping him off at that facility that Friday felt similar, because he was afraid. I was worried for him. And there were tears, but I was so proud of him, and I told him how proud I was of him. And he went in, and I just felt the same way. I got in my car, and I just wept and wept and wept. I knew it's where he needed to be, but this job of being mom never stops. But that's okay. You know, it's what I signed up for. Anyway, so after that, I stayed around in the town there, not too far from him. It was like a 30-minute drive. And so I stayed there, and I worked at the deli, even though he wasn't there. It's a lot more fun when I'm working with him, but it was the kids that are there. You know, I've known him for a while now, and I just love it so much. And the regulars that came in, you know, so good to see them again, and made a little bit of money, which is always good. And so yeah, I did that, and then he got out 28 days later, and I picked him up, and I brought his son with me. His daughter was in school, but his little 5-year-old got to come, and that was exciting. Then we spent a week together, so it was wonderful. And it was me, him, and the kids. That was great. And so now he is outpatient, and he's doing very, very well. So I just want everyone to say a prayer, you know, for all the addicts in the world, because that's a tough road. And the more love we can share with them, the better off they're going to be, and hopefully be able to overcome their addiction. So anyway, so then I left today, and I am actually going to stay the night here in Missouri. I got a late start because I was taking care of stuff. I wanted to spend time with the kids and Brad before I left, and got to say goodbye to my daughter. I stayed majority of the time there with my daughter, actually, but got a place so that I could, be with the kids and everything. But so I'm on my way to Colorado, and I will be there for a day or two, 3 maybe, depends on where God sends me. And then I'm going to go to Las Vegas and see my baby brother get married. And I'm so excited about that. It's going to be so much fun. And I'm going to see Barry Manilow because I asked everyone if it would be a good show, and everybody assured me go. So yeah, I know that I didn't buy I bought the cheapest tickets, but I just felt like, that was a lot for me because I don't spend money on things like that. But this is going to be so much fun. So I'm excited about that. My brother and his fiance want to see Chris Angel, I think. And I'm like, I'm really not into that. And the tickets are really expensive. And I'm like, if I'm going to spend money on a show, it's going to be one that I want to see. So I haven't really followed Barry Manilow since I was in middle school. But I'm excited to hear some of the old classics. It's going to be a good time. So I'm excited. And there was one seat by itself on that row in the balcony, so I'm excited. It'll be fun. And so after the wedding, I'm going to go back to Colorado and visit family and friends for a little bit more, and then I'm going to go to Texas and see some cousins and stay with my girlfriend, because I kept saying, I'm going to come and stay this much with you, I'm going to stay this many days with you, this many weeks with you, whatever. And I thought I'd work at McAllister's there because there's one there, but the Lord had a different plan, and that's fine. I just go with I just roll with the punches, roll with however he leads me, so it's all good. And so after Texas, I'm going to go to Florida because I've been fortunate enough to sign a contract where I can provide interpreting services on a cruise ship for a sign language interpreter for the deaf. So I'll be signing for deaf guests on a cruise ship, and there's 3 different cruises I'm going to be going on. And so the first one leaves like the end of April, and then the second one leaves a couple weeks after that, and then the other one I signed up for is a couple weeks after that. So I'll be busy from like the end of April to the beginning of June, and doing this interpreting and making money, which is good because all this traveling the last year has not been cheap, especially with the price of gas. And so making a little bit of money and hopefully enjoying the cruises as well, but there to work, and that's okay. So after the cruises, I'm not quite sure. I know I need to come back to Colorado to get my dog because she's going to be spending that time, which is going to be tough on me and probably tough on her, but she's going to be spoiled rotten. She's staying with my dad and my stepmom. They just love her, and then she loves them, so it's going to be fun for all of them. And I'm sure I'm going to pick up a very fat dog because my parents are elderly and they won't be walking her, and they'll be giving her all those treats, but that's okay. We'll work it off. Anyway, and so I know I'll go to Colorado to pick her up, but I feel strongly that I'll be settling somewhere. I don't know where that is yet. And I know the Lord has a plan. I know that I'll just end up wherever it is that He's leading me to. My wish would be to be somewhere near water, Lake Michigan, the ocean, but all of those places, typically to live in a place that's near water like that, which is just sings to my soul, is expensive. So I don't know that that's going to be in the plan, but that's okay. So I'm excited to find out where I'm going to end up. And I know I'll get a job. Hopefully I'll just absolutely love the job. I'm sure I'll love the job. And so yeah, I'm excited about that. But I'm also excited because my son Mark said to me a little while ago, he said, Mom, I feel like God's telling me to tell you need to do a podcast. And I was like, a podcast? I did these videos in the beginning just for my grandkids, so that they could see where I was going, where I'd been, and just so they could see Omi a little bit. That's what they call me, is Omi. And then friends and family have been saying, I love your videos and blah, blah, blah. So it's been kind of fun. But so when he said that, I was like, okay, I just need to pray about that, meditate about it. And as I was in prayer, I kept seeing or hearing all the stories in my mind of everyone that I've met on this journey. All the people that God has brought me in front of and are brought to me or me to them. And a couple of times he's had me stay in a place for a while and just write, and things just poured out of me. And I thought it was going to be a book, and it may be still a book someday, but I feel like that's what the podcast is going to be about. It's going to be explaining how God moved in certain people's lives and sharing that with everyone so that everyone can see how God is so present. He's so here. And so I'm excited about that. I'm not quite sure when that's going to happen, but hopefully soon. But I'm really excited about sharing all those stories with everyone because they're amazing. And if it just touches one person, I'm a happy girl. You know, I'm successful in the mission that he sent me on. So I honestly feel like that is going to be the second part of this journey with God. And that's it in a nutshell, kind of a long nutshell. Sorry about that. But I am going to bed down here in a little bit for the night, and hope I can upload this on just my cellular data. If not, I'll find Wi-Fi in the morning and get it uploaded so that make sure that closed captioning button works and that everyone can enjoy it. All right, I love you all, and I hope you have a blessed day or blessed night, whatever it is when you watch the video, and know that I love you. Bye, guys.